All right, so are you going to serve as secretary for tonight? Thank you very much. Kathy, thanks for your service as secretary.
And I'm sorry to bow out, just want to hear. I have a few other things to learn. And fewer staff.
So
Do we have to vote?
Jen just pointed that out, that we might need
Yes.
to elect Jen officially as the secretary. So the background of that is that Kathy has served as secretary for a year-ish and is stepping down from that role due to increased demands at work. And I think we mentioned that in our announcement to the group, and Jen has volunteered to step up to that role. Thank you, Jen. Yes. So I'd like to put forth a motion that we elect Jen as secretary.
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Okay.
Thanks. Great. And now with that, we are calling the meeting to order at 4:07 p.m. Thank you. Or actually, I guess we called it to order just before we did that. Great. I don't think there's anyone new on the committee that we need to introduce. Has everyone here met each other? Great. Excellent. Next on the agenda is to review and approve the draft minutes from the October quarterly meeting. Does anyone have any questions about that document? I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes.
Move.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello. Sorry, I'm in Quebec and I'm walking around, so I don't want to give anyone motion sickness. But I'm here.
Amazing. Great. I don't have any membership updates. Does anyone have any membership updates or questions? I will say that later in the agenda, we have the topic of the MBA Youth and Young Adult Advisory Group, and Danny Robbins will be joining us, hopefully, to share about that group's work. So if you see someone else walk in, that is who that probably is. So let's go into our regular updates. We have a skating rink report from Jamie. And then I understand we have some questions or comments from our guests. And when you speak, I might have you say your name so we know who you are. And I just want to remind everyone that this committee is focused on economic and community development within the town, and our purpose is to make recommendations to the town in accordance with that mission. So having said that, let's hear a skating rink report.
Okay, and this is, of course, just for information only for this committee, but obviously it's been a terrible season for skating despite the fierce cold that we had, and we did have a problem with the vendor didn't deliver all the equipment, so we were a little late getting it up, but it's ready to go now if it freezes. We have in hand now enough money to cover our share and more of the expenses of the construction of the rink, which are a little over $1 million.
When you say we, Jamie, can you just clarify?
The skating rink committee has the money in a CDC account at the bank, but the town actually owns and has owned for a while the rink, so they're the ones that are making the decisions. But we still have the money because it's in a not-for-profit. The CDC is a nonprofit, and so that money is accumulating in the bank. And we will hand it over. Some of it's in CDs, and the intention is to hand everything over to the town as soon as those CDs mature. So I took a second check down to Alex last week, and so to date we have given the town $652,500. You haven't voted on the check yet, but
No,
it's coming next
Yeah,
Monday.
that's-
Yeah. And so the last major outstanding item on the fundraising is a challenge from Susan and David Rockefeller, who have offered to match up to $25,000 donations. They asked us to pick a challenge group, and we chose town residents, young people, and town merchants. And so to date, we've raised about 10,500 of that. So that leaves 14,500. And when we have met that challenge, I think the fundraising will essentially end. We will hopefully still continue to get donations because we are creating a fund that will help defray future operations for the town. And also hopefully at some point a space for where people can get in out of the cold and have kind of skate exchanges, because we've learned that about 75% of public rink users don't have their own skates. So we'd like to have the ability to lend, sell, barter, whatever skates, but that's all to be seen. So we will essentially be finished with the fundraising part and have enough for a fund by when we finish the Rockefeller Challenge. And hopefully we'll have skating before that.
may I add to that?
Yeah.
That someone in the community who's a regular skater with her husband and child has offered to create a new website that's directly Northeast Harbor Skating Rink.org. Because right now there is a website, but it is a Google site and it's hard to find, et cetera. But this is being designed to be, freestanding, easier to find, will connect with the social media that is on Facebook now and maybe Instagram, and also has a component of it that would actually allow the community to sort of weigh in. So it's tied into like the weather report. So you can see if, how cold it is, how warm it is. And people can weigh in and say, oh yeah, the ice is great. What's the condition of the ice, or is it closed or open, et cetera. So that it gets more people involved in how things are going there. So
Great.
Yeah, she showed us what do you call it, example of it yesterday. It's really nice.
very impressive.
The name in the minutes?
I haven't asked her if she wants fame for it. Maybe I should ask her, and then I can tell you who it is. We can add that in later.
Questions for Jamie about the skating rink report? Would now be a good time to turn to our guests and see what they have to say. Would you mind saying your name?
First, I'm Alan Kimmerly. I'm on the Harbor Committee amongst many other committees. And one of our big concerns is a project like this is supposed to go through the Harbor Committee. The Harbor Committee oversees the entire area from the road to the water. Everything there was built with revenue from the harbor, and that's why we oversee it. It's of course the select board always has the final vote over everything, but normally speaking, everything goes through us and then goes to the select board. And I believe we've only had one meeting of the skating rink, and that was it. And nothing else has ever come before us, other than a time when we were told that we had a choice of two places to put the chiller building, which I believe is something like 18 by 24. It can be on one side of the tennis court or on the other side of the tennis court. We had no option of, putting it here or there. We had a choice of two. And being left out of this whole heart. We don't feel very good about any of this just being cast aside like that, where the marina and the harbor is an entity that brings in an awful lot of funds. It gives money to the town above and beyond what the harbor itself uses. And to be left out like this, it doesn't give us a warm and fuzzy feeling. We were also told that no public funds, no people's funds were going to be used on this. And now there's 2 lines on the warrant committee. I'm also on the warrant committee. And now that's coming up. So, funds from the town people are also going to be asked for. And so I don't understand why you wanted to stay away from us, and that's why I'm here now, because we've been left out of this whole thing. This is the only way that we can come and even see what's going on, is to come and attend a meeting where the skating rink is being brought up. And that's why we're here today.
Thank you so much for saying all of that. It's great to hear your.
Pardon?
I said thank you for saying all of that. Really appreciate hearing your perspective on this.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, I would like Jamie to respond, but
Yeah.
I would like to say that my understanding of why the skating rink is an item on this committee's agenda, and someone with more history can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the idea for the skating rink originally came up through conversations with the Economic Development Committee, and a different group, the Community Development Corporation, has acted as the fundraising, fiscal sponsor, thank you, to support, to give a place for the funds to be raised. And there are periodic updates to this group because it was one of the original places that the idea came up, but this group does not have any direct oversight of skating rink details. Am I correct in explaining that?
I'm not sure. We've always reported as because it's an economic development matter. We've always reported it for your information the same way Kathy reports on
Got it.
365.
Okay.
Not that this committee has any say. It's just for your
It's
information.
an update of something that's going on in the town. Okay, as an economic development activity. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify what the role of this discussion within the context of this committee's conversation. So
That basically is my answer number 1, Alan, which is we're not litigating this at this committee. We're just informing them where we are. And it's been, first of all, we have kept the Harbor Committee informed. We've been to several meetings. I've also talked informally with Harbor Committee members. They're fully appraised of what we're doing, what we have done, and what we will do or hope to do. Second of all, the rink has been owned by the town for a year, and the town owns the land on which the rink will be. So I think the questions about that are much better directed to the town than to me. And third, this was, and your comments were listened to at Harbor Committee meetings where I was, at planning board meetings where I was, at town meeting where I was, where you stood up 3 times to object, and it was passed by the town. As for the warrants, again, it's the town owns the rink. The construction is fully paid for by funds that we have raised, plus more to defray future operating costs. So to say that this is going to cost the town anything to build it is simply not true.
Well, we did pass a $600,000 bond, which will be $917 when paid, but it was passed.
And what was it for?
I want to go past that.
Well,
because
let me ask you,
voted,
what was
and
it
they said
for?
that.
What was it for?
They said to redo the tennis courts.
Exactly. That's the tennis courts piece of it, which is close to 900,000. Our piece of it is a little over 1 million, and we have paid for the entire thing.
It's normally speaking, tennis courts do not cost $1 million to redo.
I'm building a skating rink, or we're building a skating.
Yes, I know
rink.
you are.
I don't know how much it costs the tennis court to get built.
The town appraises a tennis court at $20,000.
So I think your question is then for the town.
That's what the town appraises. I know that the tennis courts and everything in that area was all built on the low floodplain. And because the tennis courts are cracking, they say that was because of improper fill. And that's why they say the tennis courts need to be totally dug up and removed. But normally speaking, it does not cost $600,000 for a couple of tennis courts. So
All I know is what we have been assessed.
yes, I know. And the people voted for it. You know, we both had discussions back and forth. And, you know, we went back and forth, and I said, that's fine. You know, the people want it, and then the people should, because it was voted in. But, you know, we also said that there's not going to be additional funds coming from the people. And there's 2 line items on the warrant now.
May I ask you to
Yes.
detail that? What items are on the warrant relating to the skating?
And just to jump in here, I think we have time for a little bit more exchange on this, but I'm not sure that this committee is going to be a great source of.
I know,
answers for you.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
And that was one of our big things, is we've been left out of the loop.
You want to be heard.
It's
I
in
understand that.
our little district.
And I'm not sure what M&R
I don't know what they are either.
Is then your buildings and grounds. But, and or it sounds like Brian Henkel. And it could be that that's the expenditure, but it doesn't reflect the funds that are, and it might be that that's the expenditure that had to be approved, but it doesn't reflect the money that's coming in, that's already, that's available to pay for.
Yeah, that's what would be.
So-
Here's what we have. I don't know what those mean. I don't know what M&R means.
So I'm wondering if a good next step would be to contact, did you say Alex and Brian?
Alex, the town manager, and Brian Henkel, Public Works.
It seems like some,
Deeply involved in this engineering part.
like some clarification would be really helpful on those line items, and our committee is not able to
So
provide
just
that
for-
clarification.
Final clarification, the town has that we gave them $500,000 a year ago. And they have been spending that down on this, on the plans and the initial construction. So if there are expenses there for the rink, they should have been paid for out of our donation.
I guess.
It looks like someone else would like to say something. Would you mind saying your name?
Yes, my name is Story Litchfield. I'm a year-round resident. I have a business on Main Street that's open year-round.
Great.
They're out of a very few with the lights on. I would agree with what Alan said, that there was an end run done. We were left out. I've been at every meeting. I'm on the harbor committee as well. And I think looking at the big picture, and I live very close by here. I come into town for my work just about every day. And many of these winter days, I would drive by this rink to see if it was being used. It would be a perfectly beautiful day and no one would be there. It just seems to me, the expenses aside, it seems to me that it would be so much more practical. Even Bar Harbor wanted a rink. It would be so much more practical if the money was spent. The town owns a lot of land where there's nothing on it. If a structure was built with a roof over it, a larger structure other than that small rink.
You're suggesting a different location for the rink, is
Yeah.
that, okay.
That's a tennis court.
don't have anything to.
Um,
Yeah, I don't,
We didn't.
well,
I'm glad to hear your perspective, but I'm not sure this committee can influence that.
agenda,
At
and
this
if
point.
not, you know, we just happened to see that this came up.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know, if it were more of a
So-
full-size rink design,
Mhm.
it would benefit so many more people. Another thing is the ice skating rink group is saying, at one point, they had an architect design a changing room and a warm-up room that looked like it was straight out of Palm Beach. And come to find out that that's a little bit problematic for zoning and everything.
Hmm.
And Jamie has just said, oh, you know, we want to rent skates and all. And people have said, sell hot chocolate. Well, I believe there's an ordinance where you can't make money. You can't have a business at the marina. When there were the buses going through there, and years ago, there was someone who wanted to do yoga classes on the green, and we had to say no.
Got it. So my presumption is that any new enterprise that would be associated with the skating rink would have to go through what committee would it have to go through?
The Board of Selectmen.
The Board of Selectmen. So that would be the procedure. If somebody had an idea about hot chocolate or rentals or something like that, it would have to go through the Board of Selectmen.
And it starts out at the Harbor Committee,
And it starts at
and
the.
then it goes to the select board.
Right.
Well, the Harbor Committee generally weighs in on what they feel about things proposed for the harbor.
Right.
But the Board of Selectmen has final say, has final vote, unless it's something that needs to go to the town meeting.
Okay.
I think it'd be wonderful if we could build a better skating rink and one that has a roof, so it can be used so much more. And if you're either heating or cooling an outside area, it's not very environmentally proper these days.
So
And
I hear.
we could have it in possibly in a better area. And we thank you for giving us the time to do this. This is the only way that we've been able to slide in here and give some of our comments.
I understand that's how you feel and you wanted to come and take this opportunity. And I'm sorry that we can't respond to you with the level of detail that you were perhaps hoping for. But it sounds like since the town owns and maintains the rink at this point, discussions about future relocation or structures or potential enterprises would be best directed through them. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming and participating. You're welcome to stay if you want.
I'm gonna be here because I have a meeting right after this.
Okay, great. You're welcome to listen in. Great. Thank you all. What is next on our agenda? Workforce housing. How quickly can we get through workforce housing, winter gatherings, visitor info, and the comprehensive plan committee? Yeah. The reason I'm saying is because Danny is here to share with us about a topic coming up on our agenda, and we want to make sure that Danny has time to get back to the next thing on there.
Just 5:30.
Okay. All right. You
want to maintain your agenda.
will be thank you. That sounds great. Cool. All right. So that's where we are in the meeting. Workforce housing.
December 3rd, the planning board approved 2 motions and signed off on it on our Heelway subdivision proposal. There was a 30-day time limit for anybody to appeal that decision, and we have not been notified of any appeal. So it seems that that matter is now put to rest. So we will start making our plans for developing the Heelway project. We had just had 2 days of window application time for our 2 homes on Nolan Way off of Summit Road. And we have applications that we are reviewing, make sure people are eligible and meet the criteria. And we know that there are multiple parties interested in one of the houses. So as we said, we will hold a lottery between those parties, and we hope to make an announcement next week about it.
Wow.
Very exciting.
That's
And
amazing.
anybody who didn't get selected to be a buyer will go on to a waiting list for future housing. So we're going to change our application so that it's just generally speaking, are you interested in housing? And we'll just start a running list so that when we have more houses available, we'll just go down that list to make them available.
Are you seeing any themes, Kathy, in terms of the needs that are being described by the applicants, like why they want this type of housing?
We don't
They
ask that.
You don't ask that.
Not asking why they want housing, we just assume. they
Okay.
want housing, but I
Got
can say that people who are interested, it was intended for first-time home buyers according to a definition, so they haven't owned a home in a number of years. But they are people who rent in the town now.
Do they have to, I should know this, do they have to live here to apply?
No.
No, okay.
No,
Do
that's
most-
not one of the criteria. So,
Okay.
so the eligibility criteria are that it's a household size that would fit the house, 1 to 2 people per bedroom, that there's an income cap
Right.
based again on household size, and it's a range compared to state median income. And it's going to be their primary home, they're gonna live in it year round, that they're not gonna rent it out. That they agree to abide by all of the affordability covenants. That means if the time ever comes when they wanna sell it, they will sell it with the same kinds of restrictions to the next people that come along. So there will be a maximum sale price that would be set on that. So they have to agree to all of those conditions, but it's not where they live now or for whom they work. We have looked at options for selection and weighted possibilities of if you're on committees, you get better bonus points, or if you live here or you grew up here or you're new here or whatever it is. And it gets so complicated.
Yeah.
And a little bit subjective, and it gets into the idea of a little maybe social engineering. It's like,
Yeah.
this occupation is more important than that occupation. It's like, well, that's hard to say, you know? You might need a firefighter EMT at one time, but you also might need a plumber and electrician, you know, and or a school teacher and or this and that. So we're not making evaluations on a lot of different issues, but keeping it to, they promise that it's going to be their full-time residence, that the household size meets the house, that they are at a certain range. And I will say this, that none of the people who have applied come close to maximum. Yeah.
How many
So-
people have applied?
I'd rather not say right now.
Okay.
I'll let you know, maybe. We're starting a list. So
More than enough, so.
more than enough, but actually fewer than we thought.
Oh.
So, and so that was something of a surprise.
Mhm.
We had no idea what to expect. I prepared, come into our office because we were taking them either hand delivered by email or an online submission form. And I was prepared, to walk in on Monday morning with people sleeping in the hallway, and that was not the case. So that was a surprise.
Other questions? Do you have a question, Anne?
No, everyone asked the question that I had.
Great. Thank you, Kathy, for that update. Winter gatherings, this is where we talk about opportunities to gather socially during the off season in our town. I think is that you?
I'll go first, you go second. Okay. We sort of supported through Bar Harbor Historical Society and hopefully some promotion from this group, MDI's first ever history trivia potluck. We had 40 some people show up. Everybody brought food. It was a lively evening at the neighborhood house. Everyone seemed really pleased with the format, and that's that.
Good.
So thanks if you shared it. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, I think sometimes the restaurants are problematic for people in terms of hearing, and although they really want to support restaurants, and this was not their goal, they couldn't find a restaurant that was open in January to do it. And I think for some of the restaurants, it's hard because you're feeding 40 or 50 people at a time, kind of simultaneously. So anyway, this was a good, they were really, really pleased with what happened. So thank you to everyone. Neighborhood House donated the space, which was super gracious of them. Thank you for that. And we all baked and cooked and washed dishes.
It's almost a test case to see like, hey, you can get 40 people to show up to an event.
Right. So is it a, I know bingo's not allowed, but well, actually, we were thinking reverse bingo, where if you win, you have to provide something to the town. Like, it's sort of like, how can we engineer things that look like games?
Got shut down.
I know, but bingo must be legal if you don't win anything, right?
It must be.
It must,
Right?
yeah, it's
Like-
like games of chance.
You get a crown that you wear for a week around town. You get like, or you have to do something, like you've got to, I don't know. Anyway,
Game of chance.
I'm gonna pass to Jen before I get in trouble.
Boundaries strategically.
Right.
Summer family who funded the potlucks potluck cocktail parties last year, offered to do it again. I think I said that at the last meeting. She asked me to follow up in January, so I'm waiting to hear back from her.
Oh, okay.
And
Great.
Anne Marie at the neighborhood house asked that that they don't need to worry about this. Like, we'll take it on. So I wanted to check to see if the money should go to the Economic Development Committee when it comes.
I think that it should go directly to the neighborhood house.
Well, okay, I don't know if she's gonna wanna do that, that's the only thing. Do you have a sense of that, Matt? Cause it really is to pay the caterer and maybe some rentals.
Yeah.
How did it work last time? If you can say without divulging anything that you're.
Yeah, I think we ended up paying the caterer and for rentals, but
And received a donation in order to cover.
yes, yeah.
And this is this different? Is this a different situation? And I'm not to insert myself into engineering that.
No,
but
I just think they would like to do less work on this. I mean, I guess we'll have to check with Anne Marie if she'd be willing to write the checks if we organize it.
So, I suppose this is a good time to update the group that I have resigned my position as treasurer of the Community Development Corporation. So I'm no longer able to speak for that group in terms of them being able to receive those funds and pass them on to the neighborhood house. But it's definitely a question that could be asked of the group. I imagine it would be a fairly simple.
I'll follow up with
transaction,
Anne Marie
but-
tomorrow. I just think they didn't want to be involved in setting up or cleaning up. It's that, and that's what we can do.
They just want to provide the money
Yeah.
and make a great event.
Yeah.
That's really lovely.
Yeah, I hope it all works out. I'm excited to try to keep kicking it down the road. Hopefully it'll.
When is it supposed to be?
She just wanted us not to bug her until January about the money. We haven't set any dates yet.
Oh, gotcha.
I was sort of waiting to see what the budget was and then decide if we were gonna do 2 or 3.
Got it. And this is sort of a redo of what was it called? Snacks, sips and
Sips and-
socializing.
Sips and somebody.
Snack and
Sips
socializing.
socializing.
Yeah.
Again, just another demonstration that people will actually gather in the winter in the community. And these are not official like events of this committee, but we're trying to spark interest and connect people to make them happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. What is next? Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's winter, so we could skip over this topic right now.
Do you want to skip visitor info? Just put
I
it-
will say we still, I haven't talked any
Okay.
further about it, but I still, when you bring up like the skating rink website, it's yet another piece of why I think it's really important that we find some structure back on the town website
Right.
that leads people to opportunities.
Right.
Talk to Alex.
When I met with Alex, he was treasurer and we were talking
yeah.
about, so
It's been very busy.
he's been pretty
Yeah.
busy and I need to circle. Yes, I need to circle back with him.
This is an idea that's still alive.
It's an idea that, and frankly, the new website has even less links to things than the old website did. So yes, I still think it's very important.
And Georgianne, if and when you decide you want to bring this, I know we talked about bringing it to the select board. I'm still happy to go with you and sort of like be the one pitching it and then sort of handing it off to you as you deem appropriate or whatever. Just let me know what works for you.
Yeah, my next move is to get back with Alex because someone's been hired now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And we did bring it up when you were not here at one of the meetings.
And what did he say?
To it,
Okay.
It sounds
He's
like.
really just slipped it. He's
Yeah.
probably just slipped through the
Okay,
cracks.
well, I'll go
It
ahead
works.
and
So,
please do keep it on the agenda because I do think we need to, and I will make sure to connect with them before the next meeting.
And it might be it might just be a, housekeeping checklist of like, okay, these are the steps to add something to the
Right.
town website.
Yeah.
But it may also be a longer discussion about, what are all the ways we can make,
Right.
community businesses more visible. Yeah. Great. Comprehensive Plan Committee update, just so we're informed. Is that you, Kathy?
yes, I am on that committee. So is Stephanie.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephanie, if you want to add anything, I don't know if she's still there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here.
We're continuing to meet. We are looking at the range of issues. Our next thing is about economic issues for the town. And we meet on a monthly basis. And we're just now working through the vision statement. So grabbing all of the ideas and language and priorities that came out of that big meeting again at Neighborhood House. What would we do without Neighborhood House? Because we're all meeting there. That the consultants to the group, the Muslim group, put together a very nice thing. And so we're trying not to exactly wordsmith it, but not in a meeting anyway, but we have a lot of discussions about what do we mean by this part of a vision statement, So it's a little amorphous. But
And you said that economic development is coming up next in the work plan for the. So are those like public meetings or are those just, is there an opportunity if anyone on this group wants to contribute to that conversation?
Sure, they are, like this, they are by Zoom. If there are people who want to weigh in, I think if there's an opportunity to do that, to take public comment. If there's anybody there, just as we did today.
Great.
So yeah, that is a possibility. And I think that again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, looking back at the previous plan, gathering information from all of the different village meetings that went on, as well as the one most recently at Neighborhood House in November, I think it was, and trying to figure out, what's important here and what are the possibilities. We're looking at other communities, either in Maine or in other parts of the country, to say, what do they do? And what's the roles town in an economy, So it's, again, we're trying to define that. It's like, what can we do? What can't we do? When you do it by ordinances and all the regulations about who can set up a food truck down at the marina, for instance, those kinds of rules. Do we want to support that, or is that a bad thing? Does that hurt this and help that? Those kinds of things. So the devil will be in the details at the end, but we're at the very early stages of coming up with the vision for the whole thing and then working on parts of it. So economic issues will be the next tackling spot.
Good for this committee to know if you have things that you would like to weigh in on. Questions,
We meet the first Thursday of the month, so I think it's February 8th is our next meeting.
Okay. Great. Any other questions for Kathy about that? Thank you. Thanks for the update. Awesome. Let's move on and bring Danny into the conversation. Are you ready? We're not too far behind in our agenda. So the background of this is that I think Megan and I came across a description of this group called the Mount Desert Island Youth and Young Adult Advisory Group, and thought, gosh, they're their goals have some overlap with our goals in terms of creating livable communities. So Megan and I mentioned this to this group and to see if we wanted to invite Danny to come for that group. So thank you so much for dedicating some time. You can come closer if you want. Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward.
Have to get comfortable as their roles.
So I just put together a little one pager about our group, with some fun photos of the last event that we hosted. So that is, I'm gonna circulate that. That's specifically, MDI Youth and Young Adult Advisory. We've been calling it YA. It's funny. Yeah. And then, this project I'm working on I wear a lot of different nonprofit hats and kind of pull from different grant funded projects across my nonprofit circus. That is my life. But this project is mainly supported by Just Maine for Just Us, or JMJU, which is a youth-led youth empowerment and climate action organization. But in general, they're working on youth development across the state, and I'm a rural youth organizer with them. And then I also work for Healthy Acadia, and I'm a community health coordinator with Healthy Acadia. So through my prevention work, I do substance and tobacco prevention. Actually, I teach a lot of kids in Hancock County not to smoke, but really I also go around and support youth development projects. And that can be lots of like social development projects for youth, economic opportunities for youth, job opportunities for youth. So that kind of ties into this work, and I'm able to support this project from both sources. So this is from Healthy Acadia. It's a little bit about our prevention team and the work that we've been doing in communities across Hancock and Washington County, with the Healthy Acadia Maine Prevention Network funding. So
this is like background about the nonprofits that are, this is like the youth advisory is sort of part of this umbrella that's supported by multiple nonprofit sources. Okay, thank you for that context. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not like MDI Youth and Young Adults is not its own nonprofit entity. It's really like a community-based project that is supported by these different nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, so tell us about what you do.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have an extra one? So
Yeah, sure.
there's read off of this one, that's okay. Yeah, so this came out of interestingly enough, some conversations that I was having with my peers. I live in Bar Harbor. I'm a resident of Bar Harbor and lived there almost 12 years. My dad is from Bar Harbor. So I am one of those people that is like from here, but has like always been kind of coming back and went to college elsewhere. And my peer group in Bar Harbor, we were starting to have these conversations around the OB unit closure at MDI Hospital, and talking a lot about how difficult it was to kind of hear this refrain that people wanted young families to be here, establishing themselves and having a livable future here, when none of us feel like we can have kids here. Like it just doesn't feel possible with housing and employment and the way that the economic reality of this really seasonal place is. So we were like, well, what if we kind of start brainstorming ways that young families could actually be here? Like we're all in our late 20s, early 30s, like what does that look like? And how do we get more voices in the room from all these different industries that support MDI all year long? And in terms of like the demographics of the group, it's open to people 18 to 35. That may seem like a huge spread, but a lot of us in our 30s feel economically that we have more in common with an 18-year-old than a 50-year-old. And so we're trying to kind of like build solidarity in that economic tier. And a big goal of ours this year is to bring more high school students into this process, especially high school students who'd like to be working in the trades, in heritage industries like commercial fishing, and who would like to stay here if they're from MDI. So that's a big 2026 goal. But so far, we're a group of like roughly 10 to 15 like floating people in and out of our meetings, entirely renters. There are no homeowners among us. We report being regular voters in our towns where we live. We all work full-time jobs. and or study full-time. So there are a few COA students who have been attending our meetings, and they all have part-time jobs, usually in seasonal industries on the island. And most of us, almost all of us, identify as falling within the ALICE demographic. I don't know if this group is familiar with ALICE, which is a measurement that I first came across with United Way. Although if you go on the United Way website, their metrics for what is ALICE is not even really reasonable for rural Maine. Like they were saying, like most like median income is like $75,000, which is not our experience of living on MDI. But ALICE stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. So we all there. And somehow like live in a very bountiful place and have a very rich community and still live paycheck to paycheck despite working 50 or 60 hours a week. I think that's the reality of most people in their 20s and 30s here. So our participants represent educators, healthcare professionals, commercial fishing industry, people, outdoor recreation and tourism, service industry workers. There's a few of us from like climate action groups and nonprofits. We have a small business owner on our crowd, and then of course some local college students. So we're looking to kind of expand the age range, and financially, the people who qualify as young adults is more than you would think. In public health, a young adult is up to 40, so it makes me feel really young. So we're working on, or we're just having these conversations, hosting these open meetings. We've had 3 open meetings and 1 community event. We've been talking about housing and our barriers around affordable housing, economic opportunity for youth and young adults, food security and food sovereignty, healthcare access, coastal climate resiliency. We're really interested in like, how is MDI going to evolve with a changing ocean, with a changing climate? And then youth empowerment and civic engagement, getting our young people in all of our towns across the island to be voting and participating in local government, and community development, making sure we have friends. Friends get you through the winter. So yeah, there's lots of info here on this sheet. I mean, take these with you. In 2026, we're looking to, like I said, kind of expand our participation, especially on the ranges of the ages that we have. We're going to host 2 to 3 events within these interest areas. And I'm so excited to be invited tonight because we're really interested in contributing to municipal economic and sustainability planning processes. So as our towns either put together sustainability plans or comprehensive plans, we really want more young people in the room. I'm sure it's rare that you see someone in their 20s at this meeting. We're all probably working. But we want to be in these rooms and contributing to these processes, and making this place more livable for everybody. And then, yeah, there's a little bit about the organizations that support us. And then these lovely photos on the back are from a really fun event we had in November, just as a sample of the kind of stuff we've been talking about. One of our participants is a boat builder and a commercial fisherwoman, and has been on the harbor committee in her municipality, and just knows a lot about food access along the coastline here, and how to collaborate with the fishing industry and not get in their way, yet access nourishing foods here for free. So we had a coastal food access workshop. She took us down to the shore and taught us how to forage for mussels and clams, how to have a recreational lobster license, which is really cool. And then we talked more about some of the major barriers that people all across the island have to accessing food, especially with recent cuts to things like SNAP benefits. Hunger is not on MDI. Like, there are hungry people on our island, and a lot of them are our age. So occasionally we talk about in our group, like having to choose between like paying for your apartment and having a roof over your head to starve under. We talk about that a lot, and that's definitely moving the shell game of finances around is an experience that we all share. So this was kind of a great opportunity to get outside and enjoy the beautiful place we live in, and think about how empowering it is to access food from the ocean that is here. So yeah,
That's great. That was a nice summary, and I bet people have some questions.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very impressive. It sounds like you've done a lot already. If you could say, I have 2 questions. The first is, if you could say the one thing that people are most concerned about in your group, what would it be?
I think it's housing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone is very crafty. There's no shortage of employment. We may have to have 3 or 4 jobs, but there is no shortage of employment for us. It is housing. That is the issue for us. And it touches everything else, right? Like it's not uncommon for people in their 20s and 30s, maybe not so much in Mount Desert. I'm not super familiar. I lived in Northeast for about a year, but I'm not super familiar with the rental economy over here. In other parts of the island, it's common to move 3 to 5 times a year, like all of your belongings to a new apartment. So it's like the stability of housing. When housing gets turned into seasonal rentals, it's easy to lose what was stable housing. I mean, this is a tale as old as time, but nobody wants to make $1,500 a month on an apartment if they could make $1,500 a week in the summer. So we're always just going to be losing that battle as young people. So housing.
My other question was, do you have, you said you live in Bar Harbor?
Yeah.
And you grew up there?
On and off. Yeah.
So are your members from all over the island, or are they mostly Bar Harbor?
Yeah, we have a couple from Mount Desert and one that has lived in Tremont and recently moved back to Bar Harbor, but primarily Bar Harbor. Yeah. That's also kind of on our goals list of expanding because there are socioeconomic differences across the municipalities on the island. And I think we have a lot more in common than we might think. So
Thank you.
More participation.
Thanks.
And solutions in one place affect solutions in the other places.
Absolutely, yeah.
More problems in one place.
I'm going to throw out, contact me at the Bar Harbor Historical Society. We'd love to be a venue for something that you want to do. So connect with me and we'll offer you some space for free to have a meeting, do something with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, was Nikki, that was Mark.
Really took that.
Okay, great, yeah.
Yeah, something where like an event we're interested in hosting maybe early spring would be a renters forum, where renters can gather to just like meet each other and like make kind of like a neighborhood network of like, oh, my power went out. Oh, you could come to my house. Like, and like, what is your landlord charging? Like, what are the benefits of living there? Do you feel like you have security? Like having possibly someone from Pine Tree Legal to be like, these are your rights as renters, and these are what our municipalities are doing to protect renters and make renting more stable on the island. So kind of like, not so much like tenants union-y, but more like, how do we make ourselves literate in renting so that we feel like we can safely live here?
So impressive.
Yeah.
This is very and disturbing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at your list of issues and I'm so happy you have all these programs, but it's also, kind of shocking.
Yeah, I mean, the Healthy Acadia stuff, the connection might not be immediate, but the way I think about prevention work is improving all of our social determinants of health.
Yeah.
And as we know, like on the coast of Maine, we have a huge opioid problem. And we also have like there's a lot of drinking on the coast of Maine as well. And the rates of substance use, of domestic violence, of just poverty in general go down when our social determinants of health go up. So it feels really connected to that.
If you were to boil down the mission of your group into a sentence or two, what are you really trying to accomplish?
I think building a livable future on MDI for people under 35.
Yeah, I would encourage you. We had an effort you're probably aware of a few years ago to try and have some kind of restraint on short-term rentals in the town of Mount Desert.
Yep.
It failed the town meeting.
By very few votes.
No.
Was it the
we got clobbered. But I think one of the things we were missing was your voice. And so I would really encourage you. It's going to come around again. I mean, people have to realize what it's doing to our communities. And if you can manage to get some more people from the town of Mount Desert and the other towns who are filled by one vote in Tremont.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really powerful at a town meeting to hear from people like you, because all our friends my friends are all dying. They're old, but we want young people here. And we're all aware of how important it is. but I think you could really make a huge difference there.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. My email's on the bottom of the sheet.
Oh, great.
And my other email's on the other sheet.
Well,
So
I'm
email
glad you
me.
want to get involved civics.
Yeah.
Civics, we need people, we need voices.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are there specific ways? I see you raise your hand, Alan. I'll get to you in a second. Are there specific ways that you want to connect with municipalities, government committees, town committees? Is that just a brainstorming idea, or do you
It's
have?
really a brainstorming thing. Situations like this is really, I think, where we're at right now. I don't think that proposing or supporting specific legislation, especially not in towns that we don't live in,
Right.
is working for us at this point. But sitting in on committees like this and letting you know that we exist, and we want to be a resource to economic committees as well. Like if people have questions about how the economy is functioning for people in Alice or people under 35, like invite us to meetings and we're going to talk about it and share our experience.
Or if if something comes up for discussion and we wonder, gosh, how would that affect the under 35 crowd?
Yeah.
We, not like you represent everybody, but
access to things like the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey, which is like people much younger than me, that's like high schoolers that are answering really broad slew of health questions. But like we know how to get that data. Right. We like could help with a survey process. Like we are interested in collaborating with groups that are working specifically on housing across the state to see like what's your strategy in your community. This is not an issue that's unique to MDI. So like being a little bit of almost like a research kind of asset to all of these committees. And making sure that young people feel
that's great. I just want to respond to Jamie's question, and then Alan had a comment, and then we'll go back to you, Jamie. Is that good? So your question was about like a mission statement, and Danny actually emailed me and Megan a statement that I can pass on to the group. So you have this is great, but it's like a 2-sentence thing, so I can share that with you. And then Alan, did you want to weigh in?
It's kind of a silly idea, but years ago, many people our age would host a foreign student. And that could be a wonderful idea to help, a lot of the younger people, if people like myself with a big, somewhat empty house could host young people. My better half volunteers at Beach Hill Farms, and all the people there are just wonderful, and we socialize with them all. And that could be a real easy way that we could help people, have a place, because everything is so expensive and the cost of a home is only going to go up.
Yeah.
And this would be one way of, finding places for people to live.
Yeah. Thank you for that suggestion. Did you want to say something else?
I just, this board could use some young people on it. So if there are people in your group that would be interested in wanting to be on this board or any other boards, I think one of the issues I see from where I sit, which is at the end of the spectrum, there aren't young people on any of the committees.
Yeah, and I do think that is a little bit of a cultural issue around political efficacy and like just being an agent in your own community. I think a lot of young people struggle with that. It's mostly, I think they are so busy surviving. And so, ways to incentivize participation that actually make participation easier for young people is a thing we talk about a lot too. Like, what would you need to actually be a leader in your community? It's money and housing.
It always is.
Often than that. Yeah. Like
we can provide neither, but
yeah, but for the right person who's available and interested,
We can make dinner.
Now that's not a bad social group to have. May I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What if you guys are all worried about housing and you have to keep moving, and what would be an affordable rent for folks in this group?
I mean, it really depends on kind of what your income is looking like, and a lot of people have had to piece together a really seasonal relationship to this place because of fluctuating income. But I think I'm starting to see 2 bedrooms close to 2,800.
Oh,
you saw it.
That's like
that's a mortgage. It should be a mortgage.
out of control, right? Yeah. Me and my partner are hopefully moving in March. Everybody cross your fingers. And we have a 1-bedroom for 1,500 lined up for us, which is like with 2 incomes is going to be okay for us. If it were one of us, we wouldn't really be able to do that.
That sounds so awful.
Yeah.
The thing I canvass is that they rents raise so quickly and so precipitously without notice that's why people are suddenly out looking for someplace else.
Yeah, it can be kind of sudden. And something that's also come to my attention is that there are increasingly landlords are trying to be competitive in their market and using technological support like these apps that will connect them with other landlords and let them know what they're charging for their apartment so that it kind of inflates the cost of rent. Yeah, it's happening a lot in Portland. I don't know what landlords on the island might be using that app. It's like Zillow for landlords, basically. But like, it's something to keep in mind is that we know that they're competing in their market to make sure that they can cover their costs as a landlord. But at the same time, our wages are being stagnant and wages aren't rising to meet that kind of inflated rent. So, you can no longer be an elementary school teacher most places on the island and afford a 2-bedroom apartment. It's just not really possible. And I was an elementary school teacher for 3 years, so I know.
Danny, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Happy to stop by with information, and I'll leave these for extra
Thank
people.
you.
And
Thank you.
you have lots of email addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming. Megan, I've not been very inclusive to you or you, Stephanie, either. So you guys weigh in when you want to.
I am busy coughing my lungs up, so I'm good.
I'm listening. I'm good too.
Okay, great. So the next item on the agenda is an announcement that I have. Bye, Danny.
Hi, thank you so much.
Thank you. An announcement that I have, and I totally got the name of the grant wrong. I was rushing. Sorry about that. It's not an INBRE grant. It is called a Maine Space Grant. And let me explain. So this is related to my work at COA, which is where I work, if anyone doesn't know that. COA has funding from the Maine Space Grant Consortium, which is affiliated with NASA. And it's to support students conducting STEM-focused research projects under faculty supervision. And the STEM component is incredibly broad and could incorporate data or technology, market research, even arts and humanities and social sciences. And a new requirement this year is that students conduct work in collaboration with or in support of local businesses and nonprofits. So I thought that might be an interesting opportunity to promote here. So one option is for the student to design a project, a subset of a project around a company's issue or problem or need. The grant awards are small. They range from $300 to $3,000, and the funds can be used for things like materials, student stipends, travel, software. The funds would go directly to the student, not to the business, but the student could collaborate, with the business to design something. And application deadlines come up once per academic term, so 3 times per year. We've got a deadline coming up in February and then one in May, and it's a relatively quick turnaround time. And I'll give you the faculty contact name in a minute, but I just thought if there's a Mount Desert business or nonprofit with some sort of research question that you consider collaborating with an undergrad student on, you can let me know, or you can let Dr. Brittany Slabak know, and I'll provide her email address to the group. But Dr. B, we call her.
Does it have to, sorry, you mentioned space. Does it?
So it's, yes, I know. Everyone immediately thinks
I'm
like,
just trying to.
right, cosmology or something,
Yeah.
but No, it's because it's loosely affiliated with NASA.
Okay,
So
but
it's
the
all
project
the
doesn't have.
project has to have a STEM connection, so
Okay.
science,
But not
technology,
space.
engineering, and math, but not necessarily space.
Okay.
No. But the concept of STEM can be
Sure.
applied very, very broadly. And if you have an idea and you're not sure what the requirements are, you can reach out to Dr. B and she can clarify that. So just wanted to make that announcement, and I'm sure we all know some businesses.
Email me that, I'll put it like in our news.
Yeah,
Letter.
I thought that might be good for the chamber members to know.
Or some little blurb, I can cut it down.
That's great. And other small business people. Bye, Martha.
Bye, Martha.
Bye, Martha. Got it. And I have one other just brief announcement about, this is also an opportunity for businesses. Bear with me while I assemble. It's from New Ventures Maine, which is a nonprofit that supports micro enterprise statewide. And they have what's called a marketing mini grant program. You're aware of it already. Okay.
No, it's good. It's a great program.
Yeah, it's for really small businesses, like 5 and under employees, and the grants are only $1,000. And you have to have, I think, under 150K gross sales. So it's really looking at that really entry level micro enterprise, but they for profit. Yeah, for profit. And that's it's a grant to help develop your marketing toolkit. And the deadline for that is Friday, January 30th. So anyone interested in that could Google that. The organization is New Ventures Maine, but it sounds like you're already familiar with that. Anyway, I just wanted to make those announcements to people who might know a small business owner who's looking for either a research project or a marketing grant. Those are all the things that I think I had on my list. Do we have other things that I forgot, or? And I know when I say I mean we, Megan, sorry.
I know. No, I know, you're good. I don't think so. I did want to just make one other like brief general, like related to my work announcement too, sort of in the spirit of that. I am going to be on Maine Calling next Thursday, talking about Maine's demographics, talking about population projections my office does. And that's kind of be the topic at hand. I think we'll mostly be talking state level, but I imagine we'll get county and maybe even town level questions that come up. So FYI.
That's great.
Maine Calling, that's cool.
And is the topic just general, like what's going on with Maine's demographics?
Yeah, I think they're doing a year-long series on aging Maine, I think. And this is sort of the kickoff episode, just sort of talking about, we're the oldest state in the US. Why is that? What's going on? What's trends, with our different generations, going out 10, 20 years, what do we expect? I'm sure housing is going to come up. So,
You should have the YA group.
Annie.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that heads up, Megan. That's at 11 o'clock, right? On Thursday is when Maine Calling is on.
All right.
Yeah, super. Any other topics or announcements from anybody?
Well, this group has, I guess it's gotten us all thinking, but we don't talk much about age groups. And like in your housing stuff, Kathy, we talk about income, but it's the young people that that's who we're building the future for. And how can we get them, more involved, and what can this group do to make a difference in their lives?
Great question. You were inspired by hearing from Danny a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
and I
looking
think
at all the obstacles and the barriers, and these are not easy, these are not quick fixes, but they have to happen, right? I mean, people have to have a place to live.
We're losing people like that who are doing important, valuable work, bring energy to a place and a real sense of community, but we're losing them because of
They can't
housing,
budge.
healthcare.
Yeah.
food insecurity, all of that.
I like that, her phrase, affordable living instead of affordable housing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
affordable
Yeah.
living.
Uh,
Are you gonna say something, Megan?
I was just gonna say, I think it was last year or so, we were really talking as a committee about connecting with different towns and sort of thinking regionally, right? Like the island is a region and different organizations we want to sort of stay connected with and keep on top of. And I'm kind of embarrassed that we didn't think to try and see if there was a youth specific organization. And I'm so glad we got to hear from Danny today.
Yeah, they've self-organized and are figuring out what their priorities are. Yeah. Yeah, and Alan had an idea about connecting across generations by sharing housing.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
The other thing that was really fascinating was that 18 to 35, a 35-year-old has more in common with an 18-year-old, which was that's just sparked a lot of misconception in my mind, but it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, it would be really interesting to dig into the data behind that. Yeah.
Well, and I have heard from folks always around housing
Yeah.
issues, that a parent has their 30-something children living with them because they can't find anything else,
right.
On the island.
Maybe
So,
you can't tell us this, but were your applicants younger or older or a mix?
I'd say a mix, one in their 30s and 40s, with children, elementary school through high school. And college, some with college age children as well. So,
All right. Reminder of our upcoming meeting. Next meeting date is April 8th, which is the second Wednesday of the month quarterly, at 4 p.m. And if there's nothing else, then I think we can adjourn at 5:17 p.m. and clear the way for the next committee meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
My apologies. I will make sure I do not get double booked again.
No worries, Alan.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Anything
Never
else,
really done
Megan?
that before.
I was just gonna say thank you for doing the heavy lifting today, Carrie. Sorry.
It was all Kyle who came in and set up the meeting in advance. Yeah.
Get better, Megan. Get-
Yeah, get better.
God.
Tea and lemon.
Later, bye. I'm gonna stop
Bye.
the recording now. Bye, Stephanie.